The movie begins by showing a dramatic scene set deep beneath the Hiroshima Sea. The crew of the South Korean submarine Hala is gathered on deck, posing for a photo together when they are suddenly attacked. An enemy submarine launches a missile, striking the Hala and sending it sinking to the bottom of the sea. Central radar loses track of the doomed vessel and the fate of its crew remains unknown. 1 year after the fateful sinking of the Hala, its former commander Kang Do-young retired from the Navy. However, on the day of a meeting for new officers, he is surprised to find himself still wearing his uniform. Before entering the meeting room, he receives a mysterious phone call. The caller informs him that 2 bombs have been placed, one at a playground and the other at the home of Lieutenant Commander Kim Yu-tak, one of Do-young's former subordinates. The caller then gives Do-young an ultimatum: choose which bomb to detonate first. Despite his initial suspicion that the call is a prank, Do-young is torn between his duty to protect innocent lives and his obligation to attend the meeting. Ultimately, he decides to ignore the call and follow the officer who has summoned him to the meeting room, but the weight of this decision hangs heavy on his mind. As the meeting came to a close and Do-young wrapped up his speech, an officer raised a concern about the submarine accident that had claimed the lives of many crew members. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to Do-young, who seemed hesitant to respond. Despite the pressing nature of the question, he remained silent, avoiding any further discussion on the matter. After the meeting adjourned, Do-young made his way to his car, eager to head home. But he was approached by Cha Young-han, a member of the Security and Defense Support Command. Young-han had something on his mind and wanted to speak with Do-young, but the latter was in no mood for conversation. He brushed Young-han off and firmly told him not to follow him or the surviving officer of the submarine Hala. Meanwhile, a bomb had been planted in the playground of the Chalson apartment complex, where children were playing. Fortunately, a quick-thinking woman spotted the bomb and promptly warned the children, allowing them to evacuate to safety just in time. However, another bomb had been delivered to Yu-tak's house. The unsuspecting victim was going about his business in the kitchen when the bomb exploded, killing him instantly. The noise from the kitchen had triggered the bomb, making it impossible for Yu-tak to escape the blast. Do-young couldn't shake the haunting memory of the submarine accident and the loss of so many lives, including his former officer. He decided to pay a visit to No Jong-sob, Hala's surviving submarine officer, in the hopes of gaining some clarity. Jong-sob's life had changed dramatically after the submarine accident, and he had been struggling to come to terms with it. In the course of their conversation, he told Do-young about a handsome officer who had been visiting him frequently. However, Do-young gently corrected Jong-sob, reminding him that the officer had died a year ago in a submarine accident. As Jang Yu-jan, Do-young's wife and a member of the Naval Explosive Ordnance Disposal, was on her way to pick up her daughter Sol-young from school, her phone rang with an urgent call. A bomb had been found at the Chalson apartment playground, and Yu-jong was needed to defuse it. Yu-jong faced a difficult decision, torn between her duty as a bomb squad member and her love for her daughter. She ultimately decided to book a taxi for Sol-young and head to the location of the bomb herself. As she drove away, she was unaware that someone was following the taxi carrying her daughter. Just as Do-young was grappling with the weight of the submarine accident, he received a call informing him that a bomb had exploded at Yu-tak's house. The situation was rapidly spiraling out of control, and before Do-young could fully process the news, he received a call from a mysterious caller. The caller informed Do-young that he had set up another bomb, this time at a football stadium, and asked Do-young to install an app sent by the caller. The caller's demands were clear. Do-young had 60 minutes to find the bomb before it exploded. Do-young was in a race against time, his mind consumed with thoughts of the people who could be in danger. He installed the app as instructed, and a countdown timer appeared on his phone screen. As the seconds ticked by, Do-young was hit with a flood of memories from the events that had taken place on Hala's submarine a year ago. The crew of Hala's submarine was frantically trying to deal with a mysterious missile attack that had targeted their vessel. Do-young, the commanding officer, ordered his men to fire back at the incoming missile, but the shot missed its mark. In an effort to avoid the missile's explosion, Do-young made the difficult decision to take the submarine to the lowest possible point, causing it to sink to the bottom of the sea. The crew was relieved to be free from the immediate danger of the missile attack, but now they were trapped inside the sunken submarine, unable to escape. Do-young was at a packed football stadium, surrounded by the roar of the cheering crowd. Suddenly, he bumped into a reporter named Dio who was frantically trying to spread the word about a bomb that had been planted in the stadium. Dio's phone fell and broke, leaving him in a state of distress as he chased after Do-young, who was making his way to the seating area. As Do-young reached his seat, he received a call from a mysterious man who warned him that the bomb, planted in the VIP room, would explode if the noise level of the stadium reached 100 decibels. Dio finally learned the truth about the bomb, and he tried to press Do-young for more information. Do-young only repeated that the bomb would explode if the noise in the stadium reached 100 decibels and told Dio to go back to his seat. But, as a crucial penalty kick was about to take place, Dio realized that the cheers from the crowd could cause the decibel level to exceed 100, and thus trigger the bomb. In a desperate attempt to prevent the tragedy, Dio raced onto the field and disrupted the penalty kick. His actions quickly drew the attention of the officers, who quickly apprehended him and took him to the sidelines. As Do Young arrived at the VIP room, he quickly began scouring every corner for the bomb. Meanwhile, outside the room, a nail-biting penalty kick was taking place, causing the crowds cheering to reach ear-splitting levels. But just as Do Young discovered the bomb, hidden in a small aquarium, everyone in the room rushed for the exit. Unfortunately, a young boy was still lingering near the door with just a few seconds left until the bomb exploded. With lightning-fast reflexes, Do Young raced towards the boy and threw himself over him, shielding the child from the ensuing explosion. The blast sent shockwaves throughout the room, leaving everyone stunned. Dio rushed over to Do Young as soon as he saw that he had survived the explosion. Concerned for his well-being, Dio asked about any injuries he may have sustained. Suddenly, Do Young received a call from the mysterious man who had previously set the bomb. The man praised Do Young's heroic actions and presented him with a new dilemma: save Yu Jong, who was in the process of defusing a bomb in a playground, or prevent the explosion of a bomb that had been placed in a public swimming pool. Alongside Dio, Do Young decided to head to the public pool, knowing that there were many innocent people at risk. On the way, he quickly called the pool attendant and instructed them to evacuate the area. As they arrived at the scene, the mysterious man sent a photo of Sol Young, who was being held captive in a black car. Do Young turned to Dio for assistance in locating the car within the crowded parking lot, while he himself set out to find the bomb that had been placed in the pool. At the playground, Yu Jong, dressed in a bomb disposal suit, approached the bomb with caution. To her surprise, she found a note addressed to her. Meanwhile, as Do Young entered the pool area, he noticed several boys attached to a sound gauge, confirming his suspicion that the bomb was at the bottom of the pool. Without hesitation, he dove to the bottom of the pool to defuse the bomb. However, the pool attendant received a call from the mysterious man who instructed him to let visitors back into the pool. Chaos ensued as people rushed towards the water, causing enough noise to trigger the bomb's activation. Do Young was taken aback as he saw photos of the submarine crew who lost their lives in a tragic event from a year prior. On the other hand, Yu Jong continued her attempts to defuse the bomb, despite her leader telling her to evacuate immediately. The bomb was not a normal one and could not be defused. Suddenly, the bomb exploded with minimal force, revealing that it was fake. Meanwhile, Do Young was able to mitigate the explosion of the bomb in the pool, but it too was fake, only causing a small blast. In the park, Yu Jong was shocked to see a photo of Sol Young being held captive. She warned her colleagues not to approach her. Moments later, both Do Young and Yu Jong received a call from the mysterious man simultaneously. The man warned Yu Jong not to leave the playground if she wanted Sol Young to survive. Despite Do Young's pleas for her to leave, Yu Jong chose to stay. However, just a few seconds later, a bomb that had been planted in the sand exploded, rendering her unconscious. Meanwhile, Dio found a car that closely matched the description of the car where Sol Young was being held captive. He attempted to open the car's door. At the same time, Do Young, who was in the parking lot, screamed for Dio to not open the door. But it was too late as Dio had already opened the front door, triggering the bomb to explode. Despite the large explosion, Dio miraculously survived. Do Young rushed over to help the injured Dio and found the car to be empty. Later, the identity of the mysterious terror mastermind was finally revealed to be John Tai-song. He was a former colleague of Do Young who had disguised himself as a doctor to kidnap Yu Jong, who was recovering from the bomb blast. Meanwhile, Young Han was on the hunt for Tai-song's whereabouts after conducting an investigation into the string of terror attacks. From the gathered information, Tai-song was revealed to be the older brother of John Tai-ryong, a victim of the Hala submarine disaster that occurred a year prior. He had suffered from psychiatric issues after the accident and was seeking revenge for the deaths of the 22 crew members. After finding out Yu Jong's room, Tai-song secretly sneaks into, silently strangling the policeman on guard. He proceeds to kidnap Yu Jong, wheeling her away in a chair. As Tai-song leaves, he crosses paths with Young Han, who is on his way to care for Yu Jong. Young Han realizes the kidnapping too late and immediately contacts his men who are with Tai-song. The men try to capture Tai-song, but he proves too powerful, killing them all and escaping with Yu Jong. Young Han discovers the bodies in the elevator and races out of the hospital, determined to catch Tai-song and rescue Yu Jong. He races after Tai-song's car, determined to bring the kidnapper to justice. Meanwhile, Do Young and Dio visit Jong Sob to confirm if the handsome officer who often comes to see him is Tai-song. Jong Sob reveals that the officer is indeed Tai-song, but he always asks to be called Tai-ryong. While searching Jong Sob's room, Do Young finds bomb-making materials and suspects Tai-song. Do Young contacts Tai-song and questions him about his involvement in the bombing incidents. Tai-song reveals that his goal is to seek revenge for the 22 submarine officers killed by Do Young. Meanwhile, Do Young receives a picture of Sol Young, who is unconscious and wearing a bomb vest. He and Dio split up to search for Sol Young. On the other hand, Young Han, in a state of panic, contacts government officials to stop Do Young from revealing the secrets about the torpedo incident involving the South Korean submarine Halla, which was caused by a test error. Dayo finally locates Sol Young, unconscious in a cafe. As he uncovers her, he realizes that a bomb has been attached to her body. Young Han contacts Do Young and informs him that the bomb on Sol Young's body is connected to another bomb, and they must bring all the bombs closer together to stop the timing of the explosion. Tae Song creates an explosion on the street to draw Do Young's attention. He then enters a hotel where a meeting is being held, dressed as a Navy officer with a bomb vest attached to his body. The panicked crowd starts running, but Tae Song announces that he has also set up a bomb at the entrance, causing even more chaos. Do Young finally confronts Tae Song, who pretends to pay his respects to his superiors, as they did when they were active officers inside the Halla submarine. A year prior, 11 days after the sinking of the Halla submarine, the officers were weak and running out of oxygen. In the command room, Do Young received a telegram from headquarters informing him that the missile that hit the submarine was actually a South Korean missile, not from Japan as they had believed since they were off the coast of Hiroshima. Meanwhile, Navy and government officials were holding a meeting about the Halla submarine accident. The leader of the meeting declared that the accident would be considered a simulated missile launch, and the government would take no action since the chances of rescuing the officers were slim. He also instructed all attendees to keep secret the error in the South Korean missile test that led to the Halla submarine accident. On the submarine, tension rose as the officers debated over who should stay and wait for help to arrive in the next 2 weeks. During the arguments, Do Young came up with a plan to ensure the survival of half the crew. He prepared 22 long ropes and 22 short ropes, corresponding to the number of officers on board. The individuals who received the short ropes would have to leave the oxygenated room, allowing the remaining oxygen to be used to sustain the lives of those who received the long ropes. However, Tae Ryeon, who received a short rope, refused to exchange it with Tae Song, who received a long rope. Tae Song expressed his frustration with Do Young for making the difficult decision, but Do Young saw it as the only way to save some of the officers. Tae Song's resistance eventually led to a confrontation with Do Young, and he ordered the other officers to temporarily detain Tae Song. Back in the present, Young Han and his team arrived at the hotel and made their way to the meeting hall where Tae Song was. But as they entered, bombs exploded at the entrance, killing some of Young Han's men. Tae Song informed Do Young that the bomb he was wearing was linked to the bombs attached to Yoo Jong and Sol Young, giving Do Young only 3 minutes to save one of them. Do Young, fueled by anger, engaged in a physical altercation with Tae Song. Just as Tae Song was about to stab Do Young with a knife, Young Han appeared and shot Tae Song, killing him. Without hesitation, Do Young rushed to retrieve the vest that Tae Song had taken off earlier and set out to find Yoo Jong, who was now in a car. When Do Young got in the car and approached the bomb, the 2 bombs finally stopped. He quickly started the car towards the cafe where Sol Young was located, as the bomb on her body was still active. With just a fraction of a second left, before the bomb exploded, Do Young managed to crash the car into the cafe and save Sol Young's life. Following the harrowing incident, Do Young held a press conference to take responsibility for the deaths of 22 officers on the Halla submarine. He revealed that the missile that had struck the submarine a year prior was actually a South Korean missile. In his statement, Do Young expressed his remorse for his actions and offered a heartfelt apology to the families of the victims, willing to face the consequences of his actions. In the past, with only 1 short and 1 long rope left, Do Young marked the long rope for Hong Yong-woo, who was about to become a father, to pick up so he could survive and meet his son. However, Yong-woo refused, saying that Do Young must live to lead the surviving officers. In a heart-wrenching moment, Yong-woo and the 21 officers who had taken the short ropes paid their final respects to Do Young, who was left saddened by the fact that he was forced to sacrifice half of his crew in order to save the rest. The film concludes with Do Young paying his respects to the officers of the Halla submarine who had died in the accident 1 year prior, along with the surviving officers. The moral that can be learned from this movie is that seeking revenge will not resolve problems, but will instead create even more complex issues. It's important to focus on finding solutions and finding peace, rather than seeking revenge.